Alright guys, well we are back. Time to do some more building in Planet Coaster. It is back to the series Let's Build a Realistic Theme Park, and I am excited to do this today. We got day 2 of building a realistic theme park in Planet Coaster. So yes, you may have seen in the intro, yes, I kind of went ahead and kind of did some stuff behind the scenes. My bad. Honestly, it'd probably be boring. So I built the parking lot that I was going to do, and we'll look at that for sure, especially more in future videos, but this one as well. I did that and some like scenery around it. That's about it, and the trees. But now, yes, we're going to actually start doing some rides, flat rides. So finally, we're actually going to be doing the carousel. I always try to do the Grand Carousel kind of like somewhere in a pretty early spot in the park. It's something cool just to kind of see when you walk in. So many of the old, like actual real life parks like Knoebels in Pennsylvania, and honestly like Six Flags and stuff like that, a lot of them have one when you walk in you see the carousel. So it kind of just makes sense. This one I actually lifted up above the ground a little bit up in elevation, so obviously now we just have something that's a little bit more prominent. So yeah, it's not at the beginning of the park, but once you walk around that corner around the huge radius Ferris wheel, then you see this. This is the first main street section where you're going to see all of the a bunch of flat rides, some shops, stuff like that. So yeah, we got the carousel. We're adding in some rocks because, you know, obviously it's kind of just going to look weird with just the base lifted up, so I figured I want to do some scenery and rocks. Honestly, if you do it right, it can kind of look pretty cool. It is kind of difficult to round them out and stuff, and if you want everything to look pretty similar, especially with just a layer of rocks, you really don't have a ton of options in Planet Coaster. As you can see, there's like 10 different kinds of rocks, and most of them are small size rocks is what they state, and then there's a couple of large ones. So it's a choice. So I kind of just skipped over that section, and we do have trees that we're going to be planting out. Obviously, the more random the tree placement, the more realistic, because if you're just putting a perfect line of trees, yes, that could happen in real life, but somebody planted it specifically that way. I want to make this park, you know, it is called literally Evergreen Adventure Park, and I do want it to be more of, if you have, any of you have been to Knoebels in Pennsylvania, if you are from the US, either way, it definitely makes sense. Because it's more of just a natural park. Everything's built within it, not rebuilding everything after just like taking everything down. So it's like in the woods and everything. This isn't in the woods, but you know, it has all the natural scenery around it. So kind of just doing that. Obviously, I try to make it so almost like there's benches either at every ride entrance or usually like at the exits coming off of the ride. Because, you know, in real life, a lot of people are going to be waiting. Like if they don't want to ride the ride and somebody they know that they're in the group with is going to ride the ride, they could just kind of hang out there, wait for them to get off, and then go. And obviously if I put food shops or anything in the area, it would also make sense because, well, guess what? Here we go. We got benches to sit down and eat on. Obviously later in the video we are going to do some picnic tables. That's a pretty cool option that they have. And also when you do park benches, or just benches in general, you want to put trash cans near it because if people are going to be sitting down at them, it's easy access. Excuse me. So these lights I'm actually placing down, they're just like the little spotlight things that they have options in the light section. Well, what I want to do, it's kind of cool, create some ambient lighting around the trees. If you just sink it down underground and put it directly under the trees, it lights them up in a way that kind of just looks cool. It doesn't look off-putting or anything. I kind of always just change it to more of an amber light, more orange. And then these spotlights I wanted to kind of kick up on the rocks and the ride itself. I always kind of found opposing colors on a color wheel always kind of look cool, so blue and orange together at different angles look pretty neat to tell. And all the street lighting, the path lighting is that kind of almost an amber as well, yellowish orange, so it makes sense. Always kind of test it out at night lighting just to kind of see, make sure everything's how it should be, obviously, because you're not going to know how those lights look until you actually turn it to night and okay, it looks good. But we also don't want those lights completely out in the open, you know, kind of look they're meant to be there, but they also kind of look weird. So, put some rose bushes around them, kind of hide it a little bit, but also still, you can know they're there, but it'll still look good. A little more professionally made. I wasn't going to put tulips down, but honestly, I'm going to come back to everything. Like I said, when we're making this realistic, we're definitely going to do everything to the realist standard, how it would be in real life. Coasters, there's going to be the sections that are completely fenced off where it's keeping people from walking into them and stuff. So this one, this is what's called in Planet Coaster overpower, this ride. So I thought it'd be cool. I had an idea, and I'm going to do more theming on it. I do some theming here, but I'm going to be doing a bunch more in the future, kind of going in depth. I'm kind of getting the rides down and some scenery, but we're going to go fully in depth even later on, and adding some scenery, adding some realism, just the small details. But for now, obviously, I just want to do the main portion, which is just strictly getting the stuff down, getting the base of everything, and then we can add and make things even better later on. But this does look pretty dang cool to start off with. It's a neat ride. So it's called Overpower in Planet Coaster, but I obviously changed the names on them. So Grand Carousel I keep as Grand Carousel. I can't speak today. Grand Carousel I keep as Grand Carousel, but that ride I actually make into what's called over the castle. So instead of overpower, it's just over the castle. And sadly in this episode, for some reason, I decided not to record it, or I might have tried to record it and forgot. I'll be honest, still getting back into getting used to recording properly and doing things the right way. So, my bad, hear me out, the farther we go into these videos, the better they'll get, I promise you that. Taking a little bit more effort and time into them. But yeah, that ride I'm calling Over the Castle, and it's, it spins up and over, and the line up to the queue line, that's all covered with almost like a castle roofing and pillars and stuff, and then has what's it called? Pillars kind of pushed off to the side. You could see the actual pathway, the queue line covered now, and all the trees around it. For some reason, I skipped over filming that, but you can still see it. I'm gonna do more detail on that later, and I did also add a bathroom and put some employee parking in the back, or not employee parking, employee lounging and employee rooms. Staff rooms, sorry. So this is the parking lot I built, and I figured I'd show you guys that. Just give you an overview. That's the little employee section in there. That was pretty neat. It's a simple thing. I'm going to make it better later, obviously. Like I said, go back over everything I've done. Obviously, in that parking lot, though, there's the bus station, which I thought was kind of a cool adding. And the parking lot is not completely done yet either. I just kind of did the layout and the decent amount of details. I'm going to put all the actual yellow parking lines and everything. If you see in the back, far left corner, there's multiple taxis in a row. That was the idea, to have a taxi lane for people to get picked up, dropped off from the theme park. So obviously now I definitely need to hire some staff concerning I am opening the park. I decided to open it, kind of test it out, see where people go to, where they kind of gravitate to, where they're going to end up trying to go to the most, what's the most popular, what's the least popular. Obviously, like I said, it's been a while since I played Planet Coaster. I've played it a ton in my life, but it's been a little bit since I actually played it myself, and especially recording it and putting it on YouTube, never done that, so worth a shot. So this now kind of is looking for another ride. I wanted 3 flat rides down before I did anything else major. I don't even know why I clicked on Blueprint. There's nothing in flat rides for Blueprint on this one. But I was thinking that, and I was like, no, I wanted something lower down, the 3 rides that are kind of lower, 2 that are low to the ground, and then 1 that's kind of up there, So the Over the Castle is obviously the slightly higher one per se, and then the Carousel and the one I'm looking for will be the lower ones to the ground. So yeah, that was the option. I wanted a little bit of a flyer ride, kind of zoom out. That would be pretty cool. I didn't get to do much with this one yet, in this episode at least. The goal was just to kind of get this one down, have it ready. Obviously, we're just kind of trying to fill in some space in that first section. And I figured I'd kind of loop this one through the trees of the wooded area here, which I thought was kind of neat. I'm going to add more to that too. So yeah, I kind of just looped that through the woods, the pathway on the right, the actual queue line, and then putting that through on the left, just the exit line. That's gonna be more of a basic ride, kind of just back pushed off the path, but I thought it would look pretty neat. Kind of a good idea to keep it in there. 3 low to the ground rides right off the bat. Like I said, there's that bathroom spot right across too, which I kind of like the placement of that. And the 2 benches outside, which is also perfect for bathrooms. You kind of want to have a little spot for that. People to sit down. And like I said, always, there is the line, the queue line, and there are people who wait right there. And also pointing out that was actually exactly what I was talking about. The castle style roofing. Obviously, like I said, I'm going to do more with that. But right now I wanted to get a sign up on it, and I figured obviously castle, fairy tale. So I kind of got the fairy tale style sign, which I thought looked pretty cool. And obviously wanted to put the name on it. For some reason, I actually started to type overpower the castle, because for some reason I also had that. Oh no, I didn't start to type that, but I had that as the name of the ride. So over the castle, I'm like, wait a second. I think I left that ride named Overpower the Castle, which was kind of weird. I don't know why I did that, but I knew I was going to name it Over the Castle, so I just deleted that power, and there we go. That one is officially done, in quotation marks, obviously. It's not done, but it's done. So, obviously, we also wanted to put a sign for the Grand Carousel. Figured I'd do something semi-similar. You got a carousel, like fairy tale stylish. You got like the horses, ponies, like on the ride, and the design of it's kind of like child, family carousel kind of stuff. So that's what I was thinking. So I figured that'd be the best. But I also didn't want to make it the same as the sign I just did. So I decided to do instead a wooden sign, which there's like a couple different options for sign faces on this for fairy tale, for the bigger size signs. So I figured instead of making my own for this one, I might come back and redo it and make my own version with just like wood planks, which I think would be pretty neat. But I kind of just went with that wooden one. I was looking through them. I was going to use the wooden one as a background, but instead I actually used it as the sign. So obviously I failed to realize that right off the bat. I kind of was like, I'm going to use this just as the background, and then it only really made sense to just make it the sign. I was going to do the other fairy tale sign, but I realized there was only really 2 different looking fairy tale style signages for buildings. And one was the one I just used, and then this one. So why use this as the background? What else am I going to use for the sign itself, right? So I thought this looked pretty neat. I like this idea. Also, I put it down low. Who knows why I did that? It looks good, but at the same time, I realized, guess who forgot the lettering goes all the way across the sign? So when I started typing, it started disappearing within the beams, the upright beams, of course. First of all, like I said, what was I thinking? Second of all, why would I decide to try to type the Grand Carousel when I know it can't take that many letters? So yeah, delete the, put just Grand Carousel, which makes sense, that's what it's called. And obviously we're gonna have to raise that sign because it doesn't show everything. I think that looks pretty good, obviously, still looks great. But I definitely wanted to change the text a little bit, so I went with BADA. It kind of looks, honestly it looks fairy tale / pirate. I don't really see much of a in between. It looks both. So I think it works really well for that sign, especially on wood with white. I think it works. So yeah, that was the original goal, getting those 3 rides down, putting it out, just kind of getting everything ready. And then I saw this area, and I'm like, well, I don't want to put all the shops all up the front row. It would kind of seem weird. But also, in past parks, I've done what I would call just like a little park, just like a little sitting area, like around a little pond or a lake or even something, or a little hill in the middle. So I'm going back to my roots on that style, and I'm building it with a pond in the middle. If you can't tell, I didn't notice this when I was doing it. I didn't even think of it, but I had the idea of putting a path all the way around the pond and then connecting it in 2 different places to the main path. Guess who forgot that I have to put a path around it? I can't build that pond all the way to the edge. Who knew? But yeah, no, here I am trying to do it. Well, I figured that out pretty quickly. You'll see here in a second. So yeah, I moved all the trees out of the way, poured all the water in. I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. I kind of tried to take the edge off of these. I don't know how any of that happened out here, but it looks really weird. Obviously, I'm gonna have to do some train work, but that is okay. For now, kind of just smoothed that out because I don't know what the heck just happened. For some reason, I did not notice that when I was building everything else. I guess I was focusing on the left side when you walk in, so didn't realize this before, but hey, whatever. But yeah, who would have thought that building the pond that close to the pathway wouldn't allow me to put another path around the pond? So yeah, I think literally this exact moment I went, oh crap. So of course I'm gonna have to flatten it back out a little bit, take that water out, flatten it back out. I didn't have to take the water out, but I'm trying to get a good edge on it. But if I'm gonna have a completely separate path around it, kind of have to move it away from there. I think it makes sense at least. What do you guys think? But yeah, I'm going to fill that in, move it, make it all better. Terrain tools are a gift and a curse all at once, because sometimes they're a pain in the butt to use, especially when you forget to adjust the intensity. If you have it up 100% or closer to it, anything above 60 or 70% is pretty aggressive. It'll do that, exactly what I'm doing. It'll do holes where you don't even want it to go that aggressive. And that's exactly why I dropped it. If I'm going to edge, make the outer edge better, of course I'm going to drop that intensity, because instead I'll just put a hole through the ground where I don't want it. So yeah, I can put the water back in. The whole goal with this is obviously just build like a little park. Have to get rid of that stone look. I want to make it all grass, obviously, because it looks weird in a park, especially. Maybe if it was like some dirt or something, but just that. So obviously got the path around it, connected into 2 spots. Like I said, I want to put some benches facing inwards in this section specifically, this section and across the pond. Also, I had an idea to kind of put food in. Yeah, don't worry, I'm not putting that many trash cans. I decided it off the bat and then went, nope, that looks kind of weird. But, so I wanted to put like food vendors in the little park section, but also I don't really want to do like food vendors. So I figured they have the vending machine options, pretty neat. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna choose the vending machine options. And I think honestly that works great. So yeah, I saw that was a little uneven and went, nope, my OCD's kicking in, gotta change that. So as you can see, I have the benches facing in there, benches facing in across the park. But like I said earlier in the video and just recently, I wanted to do picnic benches, so picnic tables and benches. So with that chance, I figured this little corner is the most peaceful section of the park. Why not? I think it makes the most sense. If I could add it right there. As you can see, I'm having trouble putting in path right there. You're about to see why in a couple minutes here. It was a true struggle not realizing what I was doing wrong. I don't even know if I clipped out that section of the video or was recording then, but I made it pretty obvious. So that part of the ground wasn't perfectly smooth when I was flattening all the ground around it. And Path doesn't like to go over that unless you have the tunneling mode on. So when I was trying to do that, it didn't like me, you know, because then when I wanted to put the little vending machine food vendors in, I decided to put them under that building that you can kind of see in the corner there, right? There's the little sections. It worked perfectly. Who knew that 4x4 squares worked that well? Everything's 4x4, 2x4 in this game, so it kind of just made sense, which I like. It's almost like a Minecraft, but to real life. See, as you can see, I could fix that little circular path where the picnic tables are, and I got those food vendors, and I love that idea. Quick grabs, you know, and you have a little park section. You don't have people all around. More of just a little peaceful area. And also want to add a little bit of a water feature in the middle of the pond. Let me know what you guys think if I went a little, maybe too aggressive with the water feature. Obviously I did these trees first, wanted to make them good, and I wanted to keep them out of the view of the picnic tables or the benches. So those two sections don't have any trees. They're pretty open. And then I wanted to do, oh man, I can never pronounce this word. Don't have me pronounce whatever tree I'm putting down right now. I give up. Like rhododendron, I think it is. I probably got it right. If I didn't, don't crucify me for that. But I think it looks pretty good with those little ones in between. It might be too much. I don't think so though. It gives a good amount of shade to like I said, it's a park. It's a little like round park circle for walking and sitting down and hanging out to kind of get away from all the crazy of the actual amusement park itself. Yeah, I did realize I put way too many in there, so I kind of split it up. It just seemed like packed. I don't know. Maybe it was just from my point of view. The person's point of view might not be that bad. But yeah, I do the water feature in the center of the pond with some like water spouts and stuff. And to me, I think it's great. But my brother that was here with me today didn't. Well, he looked at it and he questioned it. Nah, I'm joking. He didn't even see it. But you never know. Maybe somebody out there is thinking, oh, that looks kind of aggressive. That's too much water. So here, give it a second. You know, once I put that in, you guys tell me what you think, because I think it looks great. Who knows? Maybe you guys think it's too much. I kind of second guessed it, but I think it looks good now. Obviously, I had to add some lights on the path. You can't walk in the dark at a park. Yeah, it might be safe. There's security guards here, but you know, we're not trusting that today. But yeah, I was just saying, you always have to kind of light behind those benches too. I always like to do that. It looks good. But also, there's the lights on the main path. I think it lights up plenty. So that was the whole goal. Do that. Do the water feature. That's the water feature. Just adding little like plumes of water at the bottom, kind of splashing up. I think it looks good. I put them down lower so it's not too aggressive. Otherwise though, I think that's going to be it for this episode. So next episode, I will tell you, our next episode, the biggest goal is probably a couple more flat rides. But next episode is going to be the first roller coaster. If you guys want, if you have the time, comment down below. Tell me, do you rather hybrid coaster, metal coaster, or wood coaster? Hybrid obviously being wood and metal. Or do you want a water ride? Let's check it out. Let's see what you guys think. Either way, if you guys don't comment, I'm going to make something. If you guys do comment, I'll see what's the most popular, what we think. And if there's only one comment, guess what? Probably going to go with that. Unless I just don't like it. But no, I'll try to listen to you guys, see what we can do. And there's always a good idea even in every bad idea. So let's do it. I cannot wait to see you guys next episode. Peace.